You rehearse the sentence before you ever say it. The reason you left early, the reason you said no, the reason you are the way you are. You carry a small courtroom inside your chest, and you are always the defendant. And no matter how well you argue, the verdict never comes. Notice how much of your energy goes into being understood. You draft the text 3 times. You add the extra reason so no one can call you selfish. You explain your sadness so it seems reasonable, your anger so it seems fair. Somewhere along the way, explaining yourself became the same thing as existing. Carl Jung had a word for the face you build for the world. He called it the persona, the mask worn on the stage of society. It is not evil. It lets you function, negotiate, belong. But when the mask starts explaining itself constantly, it means you no longer trust that the real face beneath is allowed to be seen. Ask yourself where the habit began. For most people it started early, in a house where love arrived only after a good enough reason. You learned that a bad grade needed a story, that tears needed a defense, that wanting something was suspicious until justified. So you became a lawyer for your own right to feel. There was a woman, we'll call her Maria, who could not end a phone call without an apology. She over-explained her tiredness to her boss, her boundaries to her mother, her silence to her friends. She told me she felt like a document that needed footnotes to be believed. She was fluent in every language except the one that simply says, "This is me." Watch what the endless explaining is really doing. It is not communication. It is a bribe. You are handing over reasons hoping to purchase a feeling you can't give yourself, permission. Every justification is a small coin slid across the table, and the price of your own approval keeps going up. Jung believed that the deepest wound is not being wrong, but being split. One part of you lives, and another part stands beside it narrating, defending, apologizing. This is the divided self. And as long as you are 2 people, the one who acts and the one who explains, you will never feel whole. Consider who you are really speaking to. When you over-explain to a stranger, you are not talking to the stranger. You are talking to an old face from your past, a parent, a teacher, a voice that once made you feel like too much. The present is just a stage where you keep replaying an argument you already lost as a child. This is what Jung called projection. The judge you fear is not out there. You have taken an inner critic and pressed it onto the faces around you. That is why no explanation ever satisfies you, because the real jury is inside, and it does not accept coins. It only wants you to stop pretending it isn't there. Here is the uncomfortable turn. The person you most need to convince is you. All those reasons you rehearse are aimed at a doubt you carry in your own body. You explain to others because deep down you have not yet decided that you are allowed. And no external yes can settle an internal no, so imagine the day you stop. Someone asks why you left the party early, and instead of the paragraph, you say, "I wanted to go home." No story, no apology, no softening clause. Feel the silence after. It is terrifying at first, because that silence is the space where you used to hide. That silence is not rudeness. It is a boundary that finally has a spine. Jung wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and you cannot become yourself while constantly asking the crowd to approve the draft. Some sentences are complete without a because, but let's be honest about the fear underneath. If you stop explaining, some people will misunderstand you. They will fill the silence with their own story, and it may not be flattering. This is the true cost, and it is why so many stay trapped. You would rather be exhausted and understood than free and misjudged. Jung called this the confrontation with the shadow, meeting the parts of yourself you would rather not own. Your shadow includes the you that others might call cold, selfish, difficult, too much. Healing is not proving that self away. Healing is turning to face it and quietly saying, "Yes, that is also me, and I no longer need your case dismissed." Think of Maria again. One afternoon her mother asked, in the old sharp tone, why she hadn't called in a week. The whole defense rose in her throat, the schedule, the traffic, the exhaustion. Instead she breathed and said, I just needed some space. Her mother went quiet. And Maria realized the quiet did not kill her. It set her down. There is a difference you must learn between explaining and sharing. Explaining is defensive, aimed at avoiding a punishment. Sharing is generous, offered from safety, given because you want closeness, not because you fear consequence. The same words can be a shield or a gift. What changes is whether you feel you owe them, so test it before every reason leaves your mouth. Ask yourself one question, am I informing, or am I begging? If you are sharing a thought with someone safe, speak freely. But if you feel the old tightness, the rush to justify, the fear of the verdict, then stop. That tightness is the tell. That is the child, not the truth. This is where individuation begins, Jung's word for the slow work of becoming a whole and separate self. It is not about becoming selfish or silent. It is about no longer outsourcing your reality to a committee. You start to hold your own experience as valid before anyone else confirms it. You become your own first witness. Watch how the body changes when you stop. The shoulders drop. The breath goes lower. There is a strange grief at first, because the explaining kept you busy, kept you connected to the very people who never fully accepted you. Letting go of the defense means grieving the approval you will now never earn. That grief is the doorway. Understand what you are actually mourning. You are burying the fantasy that if you just explained perfectly, the right person would finally understand and love you completely. That fantasy kept you talking for years. To heal is to let it die gently, and to discover that you can love yourself in the exact place where they didn't. You may fear that without explaining, you'll become cold, distant, unreachable. The opposite is true. The people who stop over-explaining often become warmer, because their kindness is no longer a ransom. When you give without needing to be understood, your generosity becomes clean. People feel the difference. They can finally relax around you. There is also a quieter reward. When you stop narrating yourself to everyone, you finally hear yourself. The mental noise of pre-drafted defenses goes silent, and underneath it is a voice that has been waiting a long time. It tells you what you actually want, what you actually feel. You had drowned it out with all that testimony. Try it in small doses. Next time you cancel a plan, write the message and delete every sentence that starts with because. Send only what remains. Next time someone frowns at your choice, resist the urge to fill the pause. Let them sit with a version of you that does not perform. Practice being briefly, deliberately unexplained. Expect resistance from others, at first. People who benefited from your constant justifying will notice the change. The ones who used your guilt as a handle will pull harder. This is not a sign you are doing wrong. It is a sign the old arrangement is breaking, and something in you refused to keep paying the toll. Jung reminds us that wholeness, not perfection, is the goal. You will not become someone who never explains anything. That's not the point. The point is that explaining becomes a choice you make, not a reflex that owns you. You will still tell your story, but from a throne now, not from the witness stand. Notice, too, how this reshapes love. The right people do not require a legal brief to stay. They ask because they are curious, not because they are auditing you. And when you stop explaining to everyone, you can finally tell who was listening for connection and who was only listening for evidence. The relationships that survive get truer. There will be a moment, maybe soon, when someone misjudges you and you feel the old fire to correct them. And you will pause, and you will let it go. Not because you are weak, but because you finally know something they don't. Their opinion of you is a story happening inside them. You no longer live in that house. This is what Jung meant when he said we cannot change anything until we accept it. As long as you fought to be understood, you were rejecting yourself, insisting you needed editing before you could be loved. Acceptance is not resignation. It is the moment you stop submitting yourself for approval and start simply living your one life. Maria told me, months later, that the silence she once feared had become her favorite room. She no longer left voicemails with 3 reasons. She said no and let it be a full sentence. She was not colder, she said. She was just finally home in herself, and the door no longer needed a password. So here is the invitation hidden inside the discomfort. The exhaustion you feel is not a flaw in your character. It is the ache of a self that has been on trial too long. And the day you step down from that witness stand, the day you let one action stand unexplained, something in you will straighten and breathe. You do not owe the world a running commentary on your existence. Your reasons are yours to know, not everyone's to approve. Your life is not a case to be argued, it is a thing to be lived, quietly, fully, without footnotes. The day you stop explaining yourself is not the day you disappear. It is the day you finally arrive. Tonight, notice the first sentence you feel tempted to over-explain. Feel the tightness rise. Then, just once, let the reason stay unsaid, and watch yourself survive it. That small silence is the beginning of your healing. And the person on the other side of it, the one you were always trying to convince, was only ever you.